Now, for the second day in a row, there have been explosions at Russian air bases deep inside the country. The incidents could be a major escalation in the war, which so far has largely remained inside the borders of Ukraine. Joining me now with more details are Defence and Security Analyst Michael Clarke. And Michael, what do we know about these explosions?
Well, we don't know who caused them, but we can guess that the only beneficiary of these is Ukraine. Up at the Dialagivo air base, there was certainly an explosion, and in Saratov, the Engels 2 air base, there was an explosion there. Not hugely destructive, they damaged some aircraft, but these are the bases from which Russia's heavy bombers, the Bear and the Blackjack bombers, as NATO called them.
These two, yeah.
Yep, deep inside Russia, and these are the bombers that they use to launch attacks, cruise missile attacks on Ukraine. So in a sense, the Ukrainians look as if they're getting back at the bases that launch attacks on their territory. As I say, it's more symbolic than anything else, but also near the Kursk air base, at Kalino, which is the military airbase just near the airport at Kursk, a big fire has broken out, and that not clear, again, was what caused that fire, but it's a big fuel dump fire. And, again, the Russians have got plenty of fuel storage facilities, but this is symbolically very important. Kursk is a very symbolic place for the Russians in terms of the Second World War, and that sort of cloud of black smoke makes it onto all the news channels. You can't ignore that. And
do we know what's caused these?
Well, there are lots of theories. The Russians themselves say it's this. They say that it's this old drone, which is a Tupolev 141, old 1970s, 80s reconnaissance drone. And the Ukrainians have been saying recently that they are repurposing a weapon, probably this one, with a small warhead, 75-kilo warhead, it's a reasonable size, GPS navigation and a new jet engine which will make it go 1,000 miles. The Ukrainians are well capable of doing this because they used to produce a lot of the weapons in the old Soviet Union and produced weapons before 2014 for Russia. So they could do this. The only thing I can't square with it is that the damage we've seen at those air bases so far is not consistent with a warhead of 75 kilos. It looks a bit too small, but we'll see. But the Russians are saying this is what it is. The Ukrainians are not saying anything.
OK. President Putin, he's been filmed visiting one of the sites that was previously hit on Ukraine.
Yes, I mean, he's driven across the Kerch Bridge, the Kerch Strait Bridge, which was hit on the 8th of October. Again, very symbolic target. The road bridge part was damaged quite badly, and a section was dropped just around about there. Sorry, a bit further on from there. But what's interesting is the rail bridge right next to it. Yeah, the rail bridge runs in parallel, and the rail bridge, just beyond the two gantries there, which is where the ships go under, the rail bridge was quite badly damaged, surprisingly so. And although the road is repaired and it obviously is open, 12-mile, longest bridge in Europe, the rail bridge still isn't. And that's what really matters to the military, because they transport their fuel to their forces fighting in Kherson Oblast and further north. That's what they need for all of their fuel. And so the problem that the Ukrainians have is that if they could attack the Kerch Bridge again, they could really make Crimea look vulnerable, because Crimea only has 2 road links into the rest of Ukraine. It's actually cut off from the land pretty efficiently, just by geography. And so the Kerch Bridge, plus these 2 roads, one through Omnyesk and one through Zankoy, are the only 2 links to Russian forces who are fighting up there. The Ukrainians know that although conquering Crimea would be a big issue, big problem for them, they could actually make it very vulnerable if they could just start to cut these road links and do something else about the Kerch Bridge. They would actually make Crimea look pretty vulnerable.
Interesting stuff, Michael. Thanks very much.